We'll light one candle for each of the 7 UU principles. And obviously, I'm like 2 months behind because I'm still in Kwanzaa land. I just returned yesterday from 5 weeks travel, and I noticed that my mind and my body are catching up with where I am now. Today, it's February. Here we are. I'm in Provincetown now. Okay. While the 7 candles are lit, we'll ask you to ponder this question. What are we individually and collectively doing to actively support these principles, these UU principles? The first principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. The second principle, justice, equality, equity, and compassion in our human relations. The third principle, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. The fourth principle, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. The fifth principle, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. The sixth principle, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. The seventh principle, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. I now invite Mel Dwyer to give us the heart meditation for our prayer and silent meditation.
I'll be inviting you all to join in on metta meditation, and metta in Pali is loving kindness. So I invite you to close your eyes and allow yourself to feel your breath. Let the breath be felt in your heart. Let a slight smile come to your mouth. Let your eyes be soft, and sense that you can smile into your heart, and sense your heart being open and receptive. Silently repeat these words and let them resonate within you. May I be full of loving kindness. May I be happy. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be well. And now bring into your mind's eye someone you love or someone who inspires you. Engulf them with this warmth and caring. See them happy and smiling. May you be full of loving kindness. May you be happy. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be well. And allow in your mind's eye to picture someone that maybe you have a little bit of conflict or doesn't go so smoothly. And as you bring them into your mind's eye, repeat this. May they be full of loving kindness. May they be happy. May they be peaceful and at ease. And may they be well. Now, send these out towards every being everywhere. So may all beings be full of loving kindness. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful and at ease. May all beings be well. And bring your attention back into yourself and feel these feelings of love fill your body. Begin to notice you're breathing peacefully, breathing in and breathing out. And know and feel your peace with yourself and with the world. In the spirit of social action, this morning I've chosen readings from activists. T. Thorne Coyle, who began in the fairy tradition and the reclaiming tradition, writes these thoughts in a statement about the intersection of action, spiritual work, and justice. We forget we are connected. We think our states of disconnection are the only reality, but the deeper reality exists in remembering that we are all alive together. When I scrub pots at the soup kitchen, or stand for people in Oakland who've been killed by police, or talk about the importance of the Voting Rights Act, or help send supplies to tornado victims, or organize a blood drive, or write about racism, I do all of this as a reminder to my soul, you are part of this whole world, and it is of you. James Baldwin writes, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. Eve Ensler writes, an activist is someone who cannot help but fight for something. That person is not usually motivated by a need for power or money or fame, but in fact is driven slightly mad by some injustice, some cruelty, some unfairness, so much so that he or she is compelled by some internal moral engine to act to make it better. Mahatma Gandhi states, there is a higher court than courts of justice, and that is the court of consciousness. It supersedes all other courts. And finally, Martin Luther King. True peace is not merely the absence of tension. It is the presence of justice. Good morning.
My name is Alice, and I'm a member of the Social Action Committee, and before I start, I just want to say that I know there's lots and lots of people in this town with beautiful big hearts and activists, but today I just want to honor the two people I've been working with, Mel Dwyer and Rev Kapler, for, I just want to say that it's an honor to be on the Social Action Committee with them, and that they really inspire me with their hearts and their work. So, in saying that, I'd like to keep in mind two themes during my talk, and the first is the principle underlying true social justice, which is the interconnectedness of us all. And the second is the metaphor that the following story illustrates. It's the metaphor of the Golden Buddha. In Thailand, for many years, there stood a clay statue of a Buddha outside a monastery. And this Buddha survived many years of natural disasters, wars, and wear and tear. As a result, there were cracks in the clay, and at one point, the abbot of the monastery decided to study the cracks. And taking a flashlight and shining it between the cracks, what he saw shining back at him was gold. This led to the removal of the layers of clay beneath the layers of clay was a solid gold Buddha. My heart, and the journey of my heart, has been like the peeling away of the layers of clay. One layer of ego, I can stand here now and peel that away. It's the ego that tells me that I want you to think that I'm smart and insightful and that I sound good, and even that maybe I inspire you. So right now, I want to let go of that layer so that I may better reveal my heart to you. And I'd like to just talk to you about my heart as it's developed over time. So my 5-year-old heart, on Potter Street where I lived, there were so many animals in my neighborhood, most of them behind fences or in yards, and I visited them daily. And it wasn't about wanting to become a vet. It really was about loving them and caring for them and feeling their love in return. And when I think of that 5-year-old, I think of that sense of innate love that I had. At 8 years old, I adored my dad. He was my hero. And when his mother died when I was 8 years old, my dad went into a deep depression. It actually lasted for more than a year, and he became quite addicted with work. And there was a break in my heart as a result of that. And I'd spend many years trying to fit back in with my father, and ultimately also trying to fit back in with my very provincial family. It would take me many more years to understand the difference between fitting in and belonging. At 9 years old, I was coming home on a school bus, and I watched a neighborhood boy, his name was Ozzy, bully a younger boy on the bus. When our street stop came up, I jumped off the bus and waited for Ozzy. I watched the bus pull away and then proceeded to administer justice. I pushed Ozzy into the bushes and told him that's for what you did to the other kid. Justice was served. It was around the same time that my two brothers, both older than me, began bullying me. And this would go on for years. I hated bullies, and I was always for the underdog. At 15 years old, I was in Catholic school, and a group of girls not affectionately known as the Holy Rollers. These were girls that were on the liturgical committee and were earmarked by the nuns to become potential candidates for the nunnery. I watched this group, again on another bus, shun a student. The student they shunned was a student that had physical disabilities, and they didn't give up their seat. I gave up my seat, and boy, did I feel superior. Furthermore, experiences such as these help embed in me the notion of hypocrisy. I really disliked hypocrites. At 21, I became a nurse, and in many respects, I wanted to give to others what I needed in my own life: compassion, love, and care. I loved being with women in labor, the intimacy of caring and helping to bring life into the world. It filled a longing in my own heart. I loved that nursing was about caring about people, no matter their circumstances. Later in my life, I became a psychotherapist, working extensively with people with complex trauma from childhood. Many of the folks I worked with talked about the injustice of what happened to them, and that justice was never served, and probably never would be. I found that bearing witness to another's reality, allowing the person to find a way to heal without having to get justice, the sense of belonging to life, love, and self replaced the need to get justice. Last year, at a march for racial justice and equality, I was walking with hundreds of people in Boston. We were chanting and drumming and really feeling the love. We came across a young man giving verbal grief to a marcher on the side of the road. I saw in him the face of all the haters, all the white supremacists. He was, in fact, one lone young man in a sea of marchers. My first reaction was anger and an urge to go over to him and get in his face. It came up so quickly in me. I realized I was afraid of all he represented to me and all that I did not understand. The layers covering my heart have been peeling away over time. Sometimes a layer returns in an attempt to cover a hurt or a tender spot. But as I keep the connection to myself, and I intentionally open my heart to belonging versus fitting in, my heart can shine. One of the paradoxes of interconnectedness and oneness is the experience of seeing and appreciating difference actually allows me to connect more deeply to oneness. To illustrate this point, 3 years ago, I joined Racial Justice Provincetown, and I wanted to be an ally. Through the process of peeling away the layers of my internalized racism, my conditioning, and waking up to my white privilege, as a result of seeing myself and difference, I became able to more authentically stand beside my brothers and sisters of color as an ally, witnessing the difference in our experience and connecting to our oneness. Tara Brock, who's a spiritual teacher, talks about the circle of awareness. In the circle of awareness, it's essentially a circle with a horizontal line cutting across the middle. The line, what's above the line is what's in my awareness. And what's below the line is what's outside my awareness. So I ask myself, who am I not seeing? Who am I not including? Who am I excluding? What am I not seeing in myself? From this place, I can be more deeply connected to my own heart and the bigger heart that contains us all. Thank you.
Good morning. So I'm Rick Kepler, otherwise known as Wave. And I actually chose the name Wave about 20 years ago, the first time I did white privilege work. And I started to think more about privilege and profiling and things like that, and I was beginning to come into my art and exhibiting my art. I wanted to exhibit my art without a lot of questions about, that were connected to my name. Are you this? Are you that? Are you male or are you female? Because people's work are appreciated differently, sometimes by some people, depending on other identifications or groups that we're part of. So I chose wave because there's light waves, sound waves, there's all kinds of waves, and there's also ways of being. And so that's what I'm here to share with you this morning. And so I'll be really upfront and out there that our agenda here and now is to inspire and mobilize our community, our congregation, to more fully support justice issues that are impacting humanity locally and globally. And we are also here to inspire each member of our congregation and every friend of the meeting house to in some way share their gifts, your talents and passions to build capacity within the Social Action Committee to be more effective and to deliver services. So the mission of the Social Action Committee is to raise awareness in our congregation, and we feel like we do a pretty good job at that around social and environmental issues, and to create opportunities, though, to respond in helpful ways, locally and globally. Our vision is to be a vibrant resource hub for UU members and friends that are interested in creating opportunity to address social and environmental concerns, and to create partnerships with local and regional organizations that actively provide service to at-risk groups and environments. Okay, so many of us here feel lucky to have the meeting house as a spiritual home. The security and the routine of coming to a place that we can count on each week to rest, restore, revitalize, and connect. A place where we are nourished, accepted as we are, and challenged in other ways, like being nudged to explore more ways of being. With generosity, our minister, guest speakers, and members of our congregation share with us ways of being awake, ways of being mindful, ways of being deep listeners, ways of being expressive, balanced, centered, healthy, and inspired. So we can connect with our inner being, our spiritual truth, and relate to others authentically. Our guiding light is truth, compassion, and justice. We are called to stand up as we are able, to speak up and speak out for social and environmental justice. Let's consider a few forms of activism, ways of being here and now on this planet. Artists could focus their intention and choose to speak up and speak out by sharing their perspective and sensibilities with visual language, in making a point, evoking a feeling, expressing an attitude or issue with photographs, paintings, dance, gestures, shapes, and forms, while actors, writers, and musicians use words and sounds, vibrations, and then they also use gestures as well to convey their sentiment and their message. Getting dressed, something that we all do, gives us an opportunity to express ourselves too. We might choose a shirt that has print and messaging on it. Hello. Resist. Our expressions can range from subtle to bold, micro, tiny, minimal to complex, macro, large, gaudy, monumental in scale, and some expressions are soft, dull, hard, sharp, or edgy. The intention when we dress, deliberately or not, communicates something about us, our mood, our sentiment. Whoops. Dressing up and dressing down differently might and can be intentional, deliberate way of being, expressing unity, nonconformity, acceptance or rejection of norms. Some aesthetics elicit inquiry and reactions, and maybe that's what some of us want. We want to be asked, what's that about? Why are you doing that? Is it familiar? Is it cultural, odd, unique, provocative, perverse, sacred, or profane to you and me or to others? Intentions can be misunderstood. If my dress is tight, kind of short, or my hoodie is up, assumptions might be made if we don't learn to cultivate other ways of being. We can be clear, we can be direct, and sometimes intentionally it's best to be vague about other times. With all that is happening in the world right now, while you and I and we are alive on this planet, is there anything else that we can do, individually or collectively, about global warming? Sir David Attenborough thinks so at 91, after prolifically making gorgeous nature films for television since 1954, and that began in England. He presents and narrates his latest documentary, Blue Planet 2. He says, "We are at a unique stage in our history. Never before have we had such awareness of what we are doing to the planet. And never before have we had the power to do something about it. Surely we have the responsibility to care for our blue planet. The future of humanity, and indeed all of life on Earth, now depends on us." What are ways of being more active, vigilant, and united to bring about change? Is it helpful to have a daily, weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly practice to stay actively present, on task, alert, grounded, intentional, or deliberate with protecting our future? What can our committee do to work more closely with you? That's our biggest question. Is there a future for our committee, or are we done? I say this because it is our truth. A guest speaker 2 summers ago that we invited had only 4 people attend, and that was July. And I know people are busy, but 4 people in town showed up. 2 of us were on the committee. Last spring, we tried to run a 5-week series on the impact of food choices, and we reduced it to a 3-hour afternoon, 1 workshop. And we had 5 lovely participants, which was wonderful that we were able to be with 5 others. This is the 4th consecutive year that we've offered film series. 3 years ago, we moved it from the UU to the public library to cast a larger net, because we only had 1 or 2 people coming out here. And at the library also advertises for us, so it's a little extra advertisement. This year, we were trying to be a little bit more clever, because in the past years, we had more narrow or very specific issues that we were looking at. One year, we were specifically talking about race. Last year, we were specifically talking about the environment and global warming. So this year, we arranged a collection of 20-minute documentary interviews, total time about 50 minutes on a Sunday. The documentaries are current, they're thought-provoking, and diverse in nature. We switched from a Saturday afternoon to a Sunday at 2 o'clock so that we could get the extra plug in here by putting an insert into the service in the bulletin. It turns out if we don't have 5 people, probably maybe this week or next week, we're going to be down in the basement. And I think that's going to be kind of sad, and I'll let go of that with my ego. It's been helpful. So, let's see. So this year, the array of films and interviews, I'm really inspired by them. And we picked them to be as varied as they are because we really feel like they'd be inspiring to you as well. I'm inspired to see the determination, resilience, grassroots efforts, and fierceness of the individuals that we bring to the screen. A trans woman of color, not a legal immigrant, on a bullhorn, organizing and protesting at a march for trans rights. She could easily get picked up and deported. Another documentary chronicles the action of the Gang of 19, people in wheelchairs, demanding accessibility on public transit systems. When the city rolled out their new fleet of buses, a few folks with wheelchairs were waiting at the stop. When there was no access for them, they circled the bus and they locked their brakes. The second bus rolled out. They circled that bus, and town officials got nervous. Negotiations happened, and after 48 hours, all right, day and night, the city officials granted them buses with accessibility. Yay. 12 years later, they and others organized and grew, and they went to the Capitol and demanded equal rights for the American Disabilities Act. They showed up in wheelchairs. They were helped out of their wheelchairs. They crawled and climbed up the steps of the Capitol. Yes, public outcry Congress reacting, and fierce determination from activists. One of the members of the Gang of 19 wrote, "Our journey. This is a place where we go every time that we go to the national action. It is not a physical place, but rather a place within ourselves, where the candle of human dignity burns at its brightest, and the pursuit of choice drives us to remarkable outcomes. We access this place all across the country where justice has been denied, and it is within this place where we, the people, demonstrate our power. When we arrive at this place, we are fueled in equal parts by love and rage. The rage is the inequalities in society. The love is for ourselves, the person next to us, those we left behind, our communities now, those who come after us, and even the people who have no idea yet about the struggles for independence that people with disabilities face daily. There are many ways of being an active participant in justice work. What is a workable way for one may not be for another. Next week on the social action table downstairs, we're going to have a suggestion box. And if you feel moved, please, respond. Share with us any talents, any help that you could help, because once again, our agenda is to build capacity so we could really be in the world and do work together. Thank you.
Thank you to Mel for that beautiful heart meditation, and Allison for reminding us to go into our inner life and let ourselves grow, and Wave for that reminder that all of that inner work is in order for us to be in the world in active service to the good of all. Thank you to the Social Action Committee for this beautiful service. We close this service with a wonderful gift given to us by Ann Stott, our closing hymn being the hymn called "Can't Keep Quiet."
It takes a village. It's always a privilege and an honor to be in this beautiful sanctuary, and grateful to be part of this service this morning. Put on your face, know your place, shut up and smile. Don't spread your legs. I could do that, but none knows me, no one ever will. If I don't say something, if I just lie still, would I be that monster, scare them all away? If I let them hear what I have to say, I can't keep quiet, no, 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 no. I can't keep quiet, no, 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 no. A one-woman riot, no, 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 no. No, I can't keep quiet for anyone. Not anymore, 'cause no one knows me, no one ever will. If I don't say something, take that dry blue pill, that may be that monster, they may run away, but I have to do this. Let it out, let it out, let it out now. Thank you. Keep it going. Let it out, let it out, let it out.